Good morning. Call the Wednesday morning, November 12th meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee to order. Start with roll call, please.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Lowy?
Present.
Mr. Carrico? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Miss Andrade? Miss Rittman-McGimmie? Miss Amber Turner? Mr. Marion? Mr. Crutcher? Dr. Nims? Miss Denise Turner? Mr. Llewellyn? Mr. Benoit? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? We do have a quorum.
I have not received anything for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Moving on to the approval of the minutes from October 15th, 2025. Take a motion to approve that by Ms. Turner, second by Mr. Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The Chief Judge is not here. Up next to be Ms. Cianci from the Circuit Clerk's Office. Take a motion to approve her monthly reports. Mr. Lowy, second by Mr. Crutcher. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. So I guess I don't really have anything to add at my reports. If anybody has any questions, welcome to the couple of new people that I've missed the last couple months that I haven't been here. I always offer, if you would like to come and take a tour of the Circuit Clerk's Office as well. So anytime we're open, you're available to come in. Just give me a call. Mr. Llewellyn came. I gave him the grand tour. So he's all well versed in the courthouse. But my normal reports, the disbursement report, there's nothing too different. Harris & Harris, we're having a meeting at 9:30 with Tyler and Harris to talk about finally getting our collections integrated to the system so that we can start moving those along. And I just have all the reports for the state's attorney collection and my Illinois debt recovery program as well.
Mr. Hunter, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sandy, good seeing you.
Thank you, you too.
Can you give us a status report on your transition conversion? How's that coming along?
Well, we're over a year in and we still have a lot of loose ends that we're working on. So that today, one of the meetings that we're having, that's going to be hopefully very fruitful. We've been going back and forth with emails, and I think those take a lot longer than they need to by the time everybody reads them and goes back and forth. So I strongly encourage that we get everybody on the call today together, both sides, and we'll do a live Zoom and we can work through some of those issues. Maybe it's a lot easier to fix once we're all sitting there together rather than going back and forth like a volleyball. So
congratulations on your brother.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Up next, State's Attorney's Office, Mr. Rowe. Have his grand jury reports and the grand jury statistic reports. Take a motion to combine and approve them by Mr. Lowy, second by Ms. Turner from Momenth. Morning, Jim.
Morning, everyone. You can see we're up to about 712 cases have gone through grand jury this year. That's below our 2023 and 2024 numbers, so that's a good sign. Slightly below. Not many in the queue either, so we're pretty much caught up with grand jury. One thing that has changed at the state level, a new law goes into effect on Thursday. It impacts how law enforcement and the state's attorney's office will be handling domestic violence reports. So in the past, under the mandatory arrest policies, when law enforcement would respond to a domestic violence scene, if they had probable cause to believe that a domestic incident had occurred, they would arrest the offender. That applied for juvenile and adult. Now, whether they're ultimately detained, especially with juveniles, is another story, but they were supposed to arrest the adult and the juvenile. The legislature wanted to give law enforcement greater discretion in how they handle cases involving juvenile offenders against family members. So not intimate partner violence, not like a juvenile male offending on his girlfriend, but specifically a juvenile offending maybe on a sibling or a parent. They wanted to give officers the ability to do an assessment to determine whether an arrest was necessary, or whether maybe staying with a family member was more appropriate, which, you know, sounds like a good idea. Give law enforcement the discretion to make that determination. Unfortunately, the way the law was written, it has now it now reads that while law enforcement has that discretion with juveniles, in every DV incident, they have to, even if an arrest is not made, they have to send those reports up to the state's attorney's office. That's great, because that's going to result in more incidents perhaps being reported, being reviewed for charges. However, it's also requiring them to do those reports when there's a lack of probable cause. So when the law enforcement officer goes out there and maybe makes a determination that there was not a domestic violence incident that occurred, they're still going to have to prepare those reports, still send them up to our office. We're still going to have to review them. So it's a poorly written statute, quite frankly. We send some guidance around to law enforcement. Law enforcement uses a Lexipol service, which is interpreting the law the same way we are. So hopefully at some point there'll be some changes to that in Springfield. So they've created a lot more work, but what's new? So, yes.
Mr. Crutcher.
Will there be any training you'll do for, you know, the officers to maybe have a better determination of what's going on?
Yeah, so we do quarterly trainings with all sergeants, detectives, even patrol that attends the meetings across all agencies that we work with, from state police to county to all of our local departments. So we'll be addressing that at that next quarterly training. Hopefully by then there's either some better interpretations of the statute or maybe some amendments to fix it.
Right, thank you.
So,
Any other questions?
okay, thank you.
Well, we have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Up next, Public Defender's Office, Mr. Pennewick. In the package, you have a copy of Ed's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Carrico, second by Mr. Lowry. Morning, Ed. Comments on the report?
We unfortunately have broken the 1,000 felony barrier. We've talked about this before. There's various reasons why that happens, and it's just the reality of the situation. It's something that I always am cognizant of, but as I stated before, the number one duty is to the client, and then backlog is relevant, obviously, because it doesn't help the client because it hurts our office, but there's only so much we can do procedurally, but it's definitely something I will continue to keep an eye on. Other than that, I have no comments on my report.
Questions on Ed's report? We have a motion, and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else, sir?
I have nothing else.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, probation, Mr. Latham. In the package, you also have a copy of Tom's monthly report. Take a motion to approve that by Ms. Turner, second by Ms. Andrade. Morning, Tom.
Morning. Just on the report, you can see down at the bottom, we were at a little over 17,000 contacts, 21,000 successful contacts year to date, which puts us right where we were at last year at this time. So I'm happy with that. Obviously, I'll have complete totals and compare it to previous years in January. So.
Any questions on Tom's report? We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Only other thing is the auction went very well. Thank you to everyone who was there, supported it. Obviously, that goes a long way to funding our mental health and drug court programs. That and grant money is what makes that run. So it's very important. I couldn't be there this year. My son had his last football game. Couldn't miss that. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
We did talk about you
I
for
know.
not being there.
I sent money. Okay.
Yeah. Any questions for Tom? You have a date set for next year yet?
See, you're on me already. See, I should have had that for you.
Okay, thank
Last
you.
weekend in October. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Up next, the sheriff. In your package, you have a copy of the monthly sheriff report. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Carrico, second by Mr. Lowry. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. First of all, let me apologize now for the length that this is going to take. I have a lot of stuff here. So appreciate everybody else being timely. So, and it's all about the monthly report and other statistics that are going on. So with 1 month left in fiscal year 25, it looks like our best guess at this point, we're going to be about $3.4 million less in revenue than we were in fiscal year 24. Obviously, that is caused by our U.S. Marshal population, which, as I've told you before, most of the U.S. Marshals, FBI, all the federal agencies right now are working with ICE. And as you know, we cannot house for ICE, so there's really not being a whole lot of arrests of people that we can house. To give you an example, our out-of-county through October of 2024, we averaged 314. Our out-of-county through October of 25 was 195. So that's an average of 119 less per day, or about 10,700 per day in revenue that we're not getting. Good news, however, is that in October, we averaged 126 U.S. Marshals, which is down significantly when you think that at one point we had about 300. However, so far in November, we're averaging about 140. So those are positive things. The numbers are starting to trend up. One of the advantages is with all the federal agencies working with ICE is that they have to house those individuals somewhere. They house them. They're housing some of them in the MCC, or the Metropolitan Correctional Center, which is in Chicago. So once the MCC fills up and they don't have room for other inmates, they end up sending them out. And that is, we're finding what's happening. Now remember, in addition to housing at the MCC, they're also housing ICE in Indiana, and they're housing ICE in Wisconsin. Because as we all know, we are unable to house them in the state of Illinois. Of all the jails that house for the U.S. Marshals, Kankakee County has the highest number of U.S. Marshal inmates. So we are their first choice when it comes to housing. It's just a matter of getting the numbers. So transport, from a number standpoint, our medical transports have been reduced. Our Chicago U.S. Marshal transports are trending down. Indiana U.S. Marshals are trending a little up, and Central District, which is Urbana, Peoria, Springfield, are trending down. Remember that when we transport for the U.S. Marshals, we do get reimbursed officer salaries and mileage. So everything else has been pretty similar. We're actually down on juvenile transports, which is a good thing. But it's a good thing and a bad thing. They're not locking up probably everybody they should. But it's another legislator question. But I'll have a little bit more on transports a little bit later. Also on the report, you'll see the warrant arrests for the month of October. We're still at that same number. About 85% of all those arrested for warrants in Kankakee County are released within 1 day. Actually, for the year, it's about 86%. So 86% of all of our warrant arrests get released in 1 day. Now, one of the things that we didn't have in the past that actually takes some time to do we went through and there were 20, as you can see on this report, there were 20 warrant arrests that were detained in our jail. Now, the one thing that we never really tracked was how long were they detained for? Were they detained? Are the ones that arrested in October still detained? Or did they get released? Well, one of them was released in 3 days. 2 others were released in 5 days. 3 or 4 of them are still detained. One of them was a 2020 warrant, which still has a bond on it. So his bond is actually $250,000, 10% to apply. So we don't see those very often anymore. Another one was in custody for 3 days, and another one was in custody for 10. Now, I say that because of, for example, one inmate who was arrested on a warrant on November 3rd of 2025. He has 7 arrests. 6 of those arrests were for warrants. So when we talk about that revolving door, that's a great example of it. And the others are very similar. Another one was arrested 13 times from September 29th of 2023, which is when the Pretrial Fairness Act went into effect on September 18th, through 10/17 of 25. He's still in our custody, but he's been arrested 13 times, and 6 of those arrests were warrants. So law enforcement continues, and not just county law enforcement statewide continues to rearrest and rearrest and rearrest for warrants for people failing to show up to court. Something that we predicted, by the way. I hate using the phrase "I told you so," but there is a lot in the Safety Act that we told you so, and nobody listened, and they still don't listen. So it is what it is. So moving on to the sworn section, unfortunately, we've had our fatal accidents have increased by 7 in October. Probably the most horrific was the one out west, out by Reddick, where 2 cars hit head on, and unfortunately 4 individuals perished in that accident. Good news, however, for those of you that have been on Route 50 and 12,000 North, there is now a 4-way stop there.
And it's helped.
That's taken a long time. And it's too bad that it's taken that long, but the Illinois Department of Transportation has been very difficult to work with, in addition to the fact that there's 6 or 7 different government agencies working on that 4-way stop when you talk, or that intersection. Special thanks to Representative Jackie Haas and Senator Pat Joyce, who were instrumental in getting IDOT to do something. Is the 4-way stop the final thing? No. But Senator Joyce, Representative Haas were instrumental in getting this moving forward. And, as I've told you before, it's not even their district. That district is represented by Representative Nick Smith and Senator Napoleon Harris, who have done absolutely zero to get anything done at that intersection for Kankakee County. So shame on them. But, that's a couple things to talk about. Moving on, I guess, is there any questions on the report?
Any questions on the report? We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So, as you all know, the Pretrial Fairness Act, which ended September 18th, which was basically the elimination of cash bail. To give you an example of how much money that has cost Kankakee County, in 2022, which was the last full year where individuals posted bond in Kankakee, there was over $3 million posted at the jail. $3 million. by people who some of our legislators say are poor and have no money. 10% of that $3 million posted stays with the county back then. That was the way that the bond worked. So you posted $100, the county got 10 of that regardless. Is that right, wrong, or otherwise? Not for me to decide, but that's the way it worked. The $3 million posted, the county collected how much? All you math majors? $300,000 that the county no longer gets. Okay? So realistically, if that number stayed consistent, which I'm guessing it probably would, if not increased a little bit, but let's just say that those numbers stayed the same, in 23, 24, and 25, that's another $900,000 that did not go to the Kankakee County budget. It's things that now we don't have anymore. Okay? In 2018, the legislature passed and I forget what the exact name of it is, but it basically eliminated, or it gave the judge's discretion to waive court costs, fines, and fees. Now, one of the main functions of the sheriff's office is to serve papers. It's listed in the statute. The three important ones from the sheriff's office: serve papers, operate the jail, courthouse security. Those are the three big things that says the sheriff must do. Well, if you are a landlord and you want to evict somebody, it costs you money. Well, it used to. Now if you go to in front of the judge, you can get those fees waived. So you can have money coming in from renters, or if they're getting evicted, they probably don't have that money, but they own property. They can come in and claim that they're indigent, or that they don't have money, or they're on current benefits, state benefits like SNAP or public aid or whatever, and get those fees waived. We have no idea what the amount of money that has been waived by the court, not only for civil cases, but for criminal cases dating back to 2018. And I'm not sure how we get to that number. I don't know if it's something that is easy for the circuit clerk to look at to see how much money has been waived since 2018. And in 2018, we really didn't think much about it when it happened. But it's like everything else. You know, when they pass laws and they do things like, for example, the Safety Act, we told you prior to its passing that it wasn't going to work. Well, the day after it's passed isn't going to prove to anybody that it works or it doesn't work. It takes time to get that data. Well, we have the data. We have the data for the Safety Act, which tells everybody that it doesn't work. But I'd be very curious, and I would actually suggest that we maybe put a committee together to go back and look at what money has been waived by the courts to see how much money Kankakee County hasn't gotten. In addition to that, not to mention the elimination of being able to house for ICE has cost us about $6.5 million a year. I think you've heard the number 5 million before, but we were contracted for 200 beds, and that amounts to about 6.5 per year. Times 4 years is about $26 million that Kankakee County has missed out on because of Governor Pritzker. So just keep that in mind. Now, why am I telling you all about money that we no longer receive? Number one, there's a cost to do business in the criminal justice system. Nobody likes it, but there's a cost. My feeling is that the people who create the work in the criminal justice system should be the one to pay for it, not law-abiding taxpayers who work their butt off every day to provide for their family. Those people shouldn't be paying for our criminal justice system, but the way that we're set up now, that's exactly who's paying for it. Secondly, at 9 a.m. this morning, you're going to pass a budget. At least the chairman hopes so. That budget is going to include a $2 million cut to my budget. $2 million. Now, that's not a complaint, or I'm not being critical. It was something that, you know, all department heads worked together, worked with the county administration to tighten our belts, to make us, to make sure that we are still operating in the black. So it's not a criticism. It's what we have to do. It's rather a credit to Chairman Alexander Hildebrand, Steve McCarty, Vice Chairman Long, Eric and Anita. We sat down, we figured it out. And we're going to keep the county in the black in spite of our governor and our pro-criminal and anti-law enforcement legislators in Illinois. So credit to Matt and everybody who participated in that process. However, things could be a lot better from a financial standpoint, and they're not. Unfortunately, this isn't isolated in Kankakee County. All 102 counties in Illinois are suffering under our governor, and it's a shame from a law enforcement perspective. So back to transports. Keeping in mind the $2 million getting cut from my budget, there are times when a person is arrested out of state on a Kankakee County warrant. First thing Corrections does is check with the state's attorney's office to see if we need to pick them up. Why? Because that costs money out of my budget. A lot of times it depends on the charges, depends on their criminal history, and quite frankly, it depends on the cost. We being our department, usually picks up those arrested on a warrant in surrounding states. It takes 2 officers, a car, to travel to surrounding states and pick those individuals up. It gets tricky when we have to use an extradition company. We use an extradition company if those who are arrested are basically more than 10 hours away. So last week, we had an extradition company pick up an inmate from Texas. Out of my budget came $2,282.50. Doesn't sound like a lot of money when you're talking about a $13 million budget. That individual was dropped off in Kankakee on the weekend. On Monday, that inmate was released, probably to go back to Texas, and we'll probably have to do this again. So to finish up the report, and I'll run through this fairly quickly, on page 1 or the second page of your packet is a list of transports in October. As I said before, every transport requires 2 COs. However, any federal transport, which they're not broken down on the list of transports, any federal transport is reimbursed mileage and salary. So that helps us a little bit. The federal transports actually help us. The next page shows all the legal visits in court that's done by video, and also the visits by attorneys. I do appreciate Joanne for catching a huge issue with that. When I sent it to her, I did not darken out the names. She took it upon herself to darken out those names, so I appreciate that. That was an oversight. So the next 2 pages shows out-of-county warrants, how they were brought back to Kankakee County, and how many days they spent in custody. The orange, are they colored? Or are they black and white on your? Okay, yeah. So the orange are the ones who got released basically the next day. The green were in custody more than 5 days, and the yellow are individuals who are still in custody. The average length of stay of all those warrants who we bring back from out of state and out of county rather is 3.46 days. Finally, the last 2 pages, those who were arrested on a warrant outside of Kankakee County and who we did not pick up, and they were issued an NTA, which is a notice to appear. They were basically given another court date. I mean, honestly, those cases may never get resolved, which is another thing that we predicted would happen. You know, you look at the cost effectiveness of traveling to go get somebody, to bring them back, for them to get released, to them to return back to wherever we went and picked them up from. Again, as a revolving door in our jail, we have a revolving door in the state of Illinois for people who don't show up to court who live out of state. So, questions on that?
Maybe comment, I mean, that's quite,
Go ahead.
Chairman, that was quite a bit of information, Sheriff, that you provided to us. I know you're very active with the Illinois Sheriff's Association, and oftentimes at these venues, at this meeting, I always ask if there's any legislation or that's being proposed during veto session or the regular session regarding you guys, specifically the Safety Act. I maintain, and I discussed with you and I discussed with the state's attorney, I thought maybe the Safety Act should have just been germane to Cook County. And as you well know, the caucus of the Cook County legislators pushed the Safety Act. And there's some aspects which I agree with, some aspects I don't. You know, you gave the empirical numbers, and I know Sandy's talked about it as well too, in terms of loss of revenue. I mean, that's real stuff. I mean, if you guys heard what the sheriff said, the impact of the Safety Act is catastrophic in terms of revenue. I'm not just saying that we're housing people or just trying to generate funds on the backs of criminals. I'm not saying that at all. But some of these folks need to be in jail. You know, those of us who've experienced and hear our constituents come to us bitching about these criminals, they need to be, the asses need to be locked up and sometimes throwing the damn key away. You know, what concerns me, I know we don't have the $21.4 million in ARPA funds, which helped out a lot, and I know your department benefited, and a lot of the agencies or departments in the county benefited. Not only the county, but the city as well too, with their $14 million. That helped out a lot. It provided, you know, equipment and services that are direly needed by the 106,000 people in Kankakee County. I was wondering, you know, how active is the Illinois Sheriff's Association in terms of bringing forth some legislation which would deal with those things that you're talking about? I mean, how do you make up the loss of revenue? I mean, there's a prohibition in terms of housing ICE detainees. I understand that. You know, I know you slammed the governor regarding that, but he doesn't make the laws per se. He signs off on them, but the legislature are the people that make the laws. And I think that, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that stop sign. I know I was at a little private event last Saturday, a week from Saturday. Senator Joyce brought that matter up, and he complimented you and Jackie in terms of what you're able to do, and that's not even his district. But I think that, and I know you've tried to reach out to Senator Sims to meet on various things, but I think that needs to happen again in terms of you reaching out and having all these legislators, you know, together to talk about this stuff and the impact. I mean, that's catastrophic, and I know I'm being redundant, but that's catastrophic in terms of what the Safety Act has done to us. I hope there's some similar comments on and sentiments that I've conveyed. But that's almost criminal.
So a couple things, and I appreciate your comments because they're all true. From a legislative standpoint, the sheriff's office is the most active law enforcement organization that deals with legislators in Springfield regarding especially the Safety Act. We bring whatever ideas we have to legislators across the state. So every sheriff has their own group of legislators, and we're fortunate in Kankakee that we have who we have, Representative Haas and Senator Joyce. They listen, we discuss, we talk, we agree, we disagree, it's such good dialogue. The unfortunate part is, with a supermajority, to try to get anything passed that is going to enhance sentences or make those who commit offenses pay for anything that we do, any changes to the Safety Act, are really non-starters down in Springfield. And that's unfortunate, because Jackie and Pat both have brought legislation forward that never gets out of committee. You never hear about it. And that's just what we're stuck with. And you mentioned ARPA, and you're right. I mean, I think the county benefited, and I think that was part of why we didn't feel the initial hit of everything that's happening right now, because there was ARPA money.
But you guys need to be applauded for your efforts. I mean, that's a hell of a hit.
100%, and that's a county issue. I mean, that's Chairman Wheeler, that's Chairman Alexander Hildebrand. It's all you who sit here every day and make decisions based on the condition of our county and how we do it. So don't leave yourself out of that, out of those kudos. As far as ICE, and you're right, I'm critical of the governor. Always have been, probably always will be. However, out of the governor's own words, where he feels that those who are here illegally should be locked up and deported. Those are his words, not mine. Well, Governor, I would say put your money where your mouth is and let Kankakee County and McHenry County house them, so that they're not being moved to Indiana. Some of them who are arrested in Chicago are being housed in Clark County, Indiana. Anybody know where Clark County, Indiana is? Okay, one. Huh? Southern tip, just north of Louisville, Kentucky. That's where somebody who gets arrested in Chicago is being housed. Now, there's other counties in Indiana they're housing. There's counties in Wisconsin, Dodge County, which I think is 4 or 5 hours from here, so probably 3 hours from the city. So if the governor really meant what he said numerous times, not just once, if he firmly believes that, then put your money where your mouth is and let good quality county jails like Kankakee and McHenry house ICE detainees. It would make it easier on federal agents. It would make it easier on visitors who wanted to visit their loved ones. So, you know, I've said it 100 times. He has the opportunity to do that. He just won't. And shame on him. But, you know, he is who he is.
But I don't think he has control of that, though, Sheriff. I mean, some other people kind of.
Well, he's the governor.
I understand, but he doesn't have control of the legislature.
He could probably issue an executive order. But either way, it's not going to happen today. So, lastly, I always like to end on a positive note. You may have seen that our deputies were able to locate an individual with some developmental disabilities by using our drone. One thing we didn't include in that press release was that when that individual was found, he was very close to a body of water. That could have ended really bad. Fortunately, our deputies located him with our thermal imaging drone and got him back safely with his family. And again, you know, that's a credit to this board to allow us the tools to utilize to keep people safe. And that is a credit to the entire board. And so from our department, I say thank you for letting us have those tools to do our work safely. So thank you. That's all I have. Sorry it took so long.
That's fine. Any questions? I have one, and you always like to leave on a positive note.
I do.
Could you explain what happened yesterday on the St. George Road with all the accidents?
Yes. Well, I mean, basically the east-west roads were blowing over. And I think we put something out on it. But I think that was more, I think it happened in more than St. George Road. I think that's where the big accident happened, where I think there were semis that were basically blocking the roads. But you know, we thought that Monday, the big storm started to warm up. We thought everything was good, and then got a little breezy, and the east-west roads kind of were a little snow covered.
Cemetery Road is still not very good,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
okay.
Better bring your shovel.
Thank you.
All right.
I did
Thank you,
that, I
guys.
did that Tuesday, or Monday. Okay, up next, Carrie Laird from Animal Control. In the package, you have a copy of Carrie's report. Take a motion to approve that. Mr. Lowry, second by Mr. Llewellyn, or Ms. Turner, sorry. Ms. Turner from Kankakee.
Good
Morning, Carrie.
Not much to report, just on our animal disposition. Notice that we are handling a lot more animals than we were last year. Our reclaim animals is higher and our adopted animals is higher. That's because we were handling more. So I don't have anything else to report unless you guys have questions.
Any questions? We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Nothing else? Up next, the coroner, Mr. Gessner. In the packet, you have a copy of his monthly reports and the monthly receipts of money. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Ms. Turner and Mr. Llewellyn.
Morning, Chairman.
Morning.
Okay.
Comments on the report, sir?
I'm working off of this particular report right here. Our month of October was extremely busy. At 13 autopsies. We're probably right about the same in November right now. Other than that, everything's pretty well self-explanable. Then on the page, as you notice, way on the bottom there were 11 cases still pending, and that's due to the factor that a lot of the physicians are not signing their death certificates, which has to come back to me, which has to come back to grab more medical history on them, and we're trying to work on that. And a lot of the toxicology is not coming back as quickly as it has been in the past, so we're kind of 11 down on that one. Other than that, as the sheriff said, we were hit pretty hard with accidents. On all my 40 years there, the last one we had out there with 4 fatals was probably in the top 5 of my what I saw out there. Was terrible. I have to give a lot of credit to all these firefighters out there, the police officers, and for what they did out there. Was a kind of a horrible type situation where somebody hits between 110 and 120 miles an hour head on. So, engines were 25 to 30 feet past their cars, both of them, so that's all hard to hit. So other than that, our ODs, I gotta knock on wood again, because we're doing pretty good on that aspect. We're roughly closing out here in 2025. We're at 18 overdoses, which is really remarkable that we're down. As I said last time, with the education we do, I think is a big help getting out to the people of and the citizens of Kankakee County. There's no pending right now. Average age is 47, which is normal. That somewhere between 46 and 48. Hats off to a lot of the EMS for giving the Narcan out there and saving a lot of lives. I think it was 33 of them the last time that I talked to a board that I sit on. So we're continually, again, talking a lot about Narcan saving lives out there for them, so. Other than that, we'll take any questions.
Any questions on the reports? Mr. Hunter?
I don't want to monopolize anything, but you know, a lot of information. You guys just, it's amazing. I know you and I were discussing at some venue the other day, Coroner Gessner, about heroin and what's the name of that animal tranquilizer you always bring up? And
Xylazine and
yeah.
xylazine.
Yeah. So what's happening with those? You were saying that heroin's making a comeback?
Heroin is coming back. It's a cheaper type drug, I guess. What they say. The xylazine is. I talked to Jackie Haas and Pat Joyce, so they're going back to the legislative to try to get that bill passed, and also sneaking into us again with 4 overdoses on carfentanil, which is 10,000 more powerful than the regular fentanyl. That's we've had 6 cases in the city of Kankakee already, so within the last couple of years. So we're keeping an eye on that. Those are 2 powerful drugs along with fentanyl. It just seems like it's about 84% of our cases are fentanyl. So other than that, we're continually doing as much education we can to get out there in front of everybody. And I thank you for all of you guys that give me the opportunity to be able to do that.
What I appreciate in terms of our department heads, you guys bring forth a lot of data and facts. And you always hear me say facts and data don't lie. And I think we could be proud of you guys who come in and make your presentations and reports, because that information is very important to convey to our 106,000 residents in the county. And you guys are fully transparent by virtue of the reports, the empirical reports, the written reports, and your oral reports. That's really important. As an elected official, I appreciate the information that you provide to us, because the more you know, when you know better, you do better in terms of being able to talk to our constituents. The information you guys provide is very important. And candidly, your presence in the community, interfacing with different venues and stuff, going out and showing the people what kind of services are being provided, that's monumental. And I applaud the department heads in the county for being very transparent and open in terms of the kind of services and facts about your respective departments. We appreciate that.
Appreciate all of you. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else?
That's it.
Is there any old business come before the committee? Any old business? Any new business? Before Mr. Carrico makes a motion, just to remind everybody, at 9 o'clock we have the county board meeting that was postponed on Monday. So, Mr. Carrico, second by Mr. Lowy. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.